Hi, I'm here in the Cambridge Model Home at Cardinal Creek Village, and today we're talking tomatoes. One of the things I love best about this time of year is driving by farmers markets and seeing the baskets just brimming with ripe tomatoes. And I see that and just want to capture those flavors and harvest them so I can put them in my freezer and enjoy them all winter. And one of my favorite ways to process tomatoes is to oven dry them and then freeze them. So I like to work with plum or Roma tomatoes. They have fewer seeds and a meatier pulp, so it really makes them suitable for this kind of preparation. This is a simple recipe. You just cut the stem end off and then slice the tomatoes in half lengthwise. And don't worry if you see a little green bit there, it's going to all cook down and it's just no problem at all. Then lay them out on a parchment-lined baking sheet. And in this case, I do recommend parchment because you'll have a bit of a sticky mess to clean up otherwise. And you can do a couple of trays at a time. You could do just a couple of tomatoes at a time, really whatever you prefer. There we go. So now we've got our tomatoes all cut, and we're going to give them just a little bit of flavor enhancer. In this case, I'm actually using roasted garlic flavored olive oil because I really like that. And I love these spray bottles because it's super easy to get it exactly where you want it on the tomatoes. You could, of course, just put a little olive oil in a bowl and brush it on, or you could even just drizzle it on top and spread it around with your fingers. I'm just going to spray the oil on. There we go, it doesn't take very much. And I'm going to add a little salt and pepper because those are natural flavor enhancers for tomatoes. And I don't recommend adding dry herbs like basil or oregano because these cook for so long, they're going to end up a little bit crispy and maybe bitter tasting. And last but not least, I like a little heat with these, so I've got some dried red pepper flakes. And this is great because you can control the amount of heat you want on your tomatoes. So I'm just going to put kind of a moderate amount because I don't know yet exactly what I'm going to use them for, so I don't want them to be too spicy. I can always add more spice later. But if you're a fan of big, bold spice, then I'd say just layer on. And that's it. Our tomatoes are all ready to go into the oven. And they'll roast for about 2 to 2.5 hours, depending on the size of the tomatoes. These are fairly large, so they'll definitely be more at the 2.5 hour mark. And as they cook, they're going to release their moisture, and they'll start to kind of slump down, and the edges will get a little bit blackened, which is great because then you know that the natural sugars in the tomatoes are starting to caramelize. So I'm just going to set that aside, and now I'll pull out some that I cooked earlier. And you can see exactly what I was describing. They were the same size as these ones starting out, and now they've slumped down, and I've got the nice little barely blackened edges, and they just look perfect and ready to go. So what can you do with them? Well, you can serve them as a side dish at warm or room temperature, even cold. You can also lay them in layers separated with parchment paper and freeze them for up to a year. I like to do some that way, and then I also puree quite a few of them and portion it out into little bags for pizza sauce and pasta sauce. So there's a whole lot you can do with these tomatoes, and I hope you enjoy capturing the flavor of summer to enjoy all winter long.